Hi, guys. Welcome to Real Food Recovery. Today, we're talking about that moment so many people know all too well. The moment you think, I blew it. Maybe it was a binge. Maybe it was a weekend spiral. Maybe it was just one choice that turned into 10. And suddenly the shame is louder than the hunger ever was. But what if that moment isn't failure? What if it's actually the most powerful turning point in your recovery? I'm joined today by Connie Bennett, author of I Blew My Diet, Now What? And we're unpacking what really happens after a slip, emotionally, neurologically, and spiritually, and how to stop starting over and finally start healing. Let me tell you a little bit about Connie. She is a self-mocking former sugar and carbs addict, in demand, transformational speaker, popular podcast guest, clean eater, TEDx speaker, journalist, founder of National Bounce Back Month every February, and author of the best selling books Sugar Shock, Beyond Sugar Shock, and her latest, I Blew My Diet, Now What? The Bounce Back Boldly Cheerleader, as she is known, is a certified health coach, certified dream builder coach, and life coach, practitioner of emotional freedom techniques. She is a frequent media or podcast guest on CBS News Sunday Morning, Woman's World, Forbes Health, and contributor to various outlets such as Newsweek. Based in San Diego, Connie is an avid fan of Pilates, pickleball, bicycling, ping pong, and power walking by the ocean. She adores rebounding, power walking, and hooping. She is founder of La Jolla Active Walkers, and we are very, very honored and lucky to be able to get her on the podcast with us today. I am thrilled beyond measure to get to know her a little better. So, Connie, I want to start out and
Thank
ask
you.
you.
Thank you for having me, Paige.
Oh, you are so welcome. Before we get into it so much, I'm sure people are leaning in. That was an intriguing bio, and I'm sure they want to know a little bit more about you. There had to be something that led you to this work. I don't know if it was a light bulb moment or a dimmer switch moment, but what was it that pulled you in to even start the work in this area?
Okay, well, there were actually two turning points. So
Yeah.
the first turning point began, I don't know, more than a decade and a half ago. And I was besieged by 44 ailments, mood swings, headaches, fatigue, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, scary heart palpitations that hit me out of the blue. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I had spent, I don't know, the better part, I had spent years going from doctor to doctor to doctor. Now, I had a huge sugar habit. I would
Mm-hmm.
I would eat handfuls of red licorice. I would eat these hard candies throughout the day. So I'm a journalist, and I literally would survive on these sugar highs to meet my tight deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
And it just over time, all of a sudden, I had like these 44 ailments. And one doctor said, it's coffee, quit coffee. So I did. Another doctor said, quit diet soda. So I did. Still had the symptoms. Another doctor said, it's all in your head. And that, oh, I don't want to swear, but it really angered me. Um, it, it really just got under my skin. And it went on and on and on until I found a doctor who said, who quizzed me about my what I ate
Yeah.
every day. And I very reluctantly admitted that that I'd been eating lots of these hard candies, lots of red licorice, and lots of crackers and chips. And this doctor's, and so he ran blood tests and he's like, oh, I shouldn't say he said it was that simple, but there's been like 15 years longer. And it felt like he's like, well, it's simple, just quit sugar, quit processed carbs, and all your ailments will go away.
No problem.
And I was like, what? Now, this was God, it was about 20 years ago now. And because that ultimately led to my first book, Sugar Shock.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened is I very reluctantly followed his advice. Oh, and let me tell your listeners out there who may be thinking that about quitting sugar and processed carbs, let me tell you about what a fraud I was, okay? The doctor has just told me, doctor just told me, quit sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh God, how am I going to do that? I just don't
How?
know how to do it. Like
Yeah.
I lived on that stuff. I
Right.
thrived from like one sugar high to the next.
Yeah. It's your companion.
Yes. So I remember so I am a journalist and I'm a very curious journalist. So I bought all these books about sugar. Now the internet was not in as big a vogue as it is now, where you can
Yeah.
boom, you know,
Yeah.
type in, what's, why do I have these symptoms or whatever. So I had all these sugar books about sugar. I was sitting there reading them while eating sugar.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not one of my finer moments. Um,
Yep.
and it took a while for me to muster up the motivation to make the decision that I need to quit sugar. This is not. I mean, just imagine I had like 44 ailments. Now, up until that point, they'd been very baffling. Oh, some other weird ones. Cold hands and feet. Who gets that? What is that about? You know,
My hands and feet are always cold.
Well, that was from my sugar addiction. I never have
Ah.
hands and feet anymore. Anyhow, um, so I was an entertainment journalist, and then that ultimately led to my becoming fascinated with the subject, and it led to my first book, Sugar Shock. Sugar
Mm.
Shock. So I went great 4 years, coaching people to quit sugar. Then I came out with my book, Beyond Sugar Shock. At the time when my second book was about to be released, my mom became terminally ill. I was living in
Sorry.
New York. I moved across country to be with her. And shall we say that the polite mom, the polite, personable mother, was less and less and less.
Oh.
So um, uh, she chose not to take any medications.
Yeah.
So basically, I then spent one of the most grueling years of my life,
Yeah.
um, utterly devastating. All my friends were back in New York. I
Right.
was in California. Um, and so I had been eating cleanly for years and coaching other people to quit sugar and processed carbs. And now I had written two books. So as my second book, Beyond Sugar Shock, this is so embarrassing. as, as it was climbing the bestseller lists, I was picking out on carbs.
Yeah.
Um, if you look on Amazon, you'll see that second book didn't do so well because I, I really fell apart after losing her. So it
Yeah.
literally came out months before she passed away. Thank God she saw it. She was so proud of me, which was great.
Um.
Which was great because let's say her moments of pride were few and far between.
Uh.
Um, maybe we better cut that out. um, but anyhow, she was very, very proud of me. And I remember opening the box of books. So that my first turning point, there's a very long answer to your question.
It's okay.
First turning point was when the doctor told me to quit sugar. So then my second turning point, and this to granted it happened more recently, but this was rock bottom. This was not even rock bottom. This was like further than rock bottom. This was about as bad as it can get. This was like the most grueling, heartbreaking, traumatic experience of my life. So after losing my mother, I just went hog wild over carbs, just like crazy. Within a few months, I had packed on 21 pounds,
Oh, wow.
developed insulin resistance,
Mm-hmm.
developed got back most of the symptoms that had plagued me years before. Now, of course, losing a loved one is heartbreaking, but so amplify those feelings with all the symptoms that were exacerbated because I was eating so badly.
Right.
Uh, but on top of it all, I think one of the hardest things for me was that I felt like a big fraud.
Yeah.
I, for, I mean, since Sugar Shock had come out in 2007, I had been telling people to eat better, to cut
Yeah.
out sugar, to cut back on the carbs, and I could not, or did not. I shouldn't say could not. I didn't. At the time, I just did not control myself. I,
Yeah.
I was like, I was in this like real whirlwind of just
Yeah.
shoveling carbs into my mouth. Anyhow, so after she passed away, a few months after she passed away, when I had all these health issues, and I moved to where I am now, and to Southern California in the San Diego area, and that's when my journalistic curiosity kicked in, and as we met talked about, I'm an author, and I remember during those years after she passed away, I think I started 3 or 4 books.
Ah.
One of them I actually nearly finished, and it was to help people with their cravings.
Mm.
And we were done, and I asked myself one question, like, how can I tell people how to quit their cravings when I did not come clean about my relapse? So that's what led to this book, I Blew My Diet Out What? That I, for the first time, owned up to the fact that I ate really, really badly. But the good news for people out there who've had issues like this is that then my journalistic curiosity kicked in, and I became driven to discover, why do millions of us eat so badly? Look, we know too much sugar is not good for us.
Mm-hmm.
We know that people consume with something like 170 pounds per year. We
Mm-hmm.
know, we know that eating too much sugar and processed carbs can lead to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. I mean,
Yeah.
and a slew of other preventable diseases. We know that eating these ultra processed foods, I call them carb garbage.
I love it.
We know that garbage can lead to diseases galore, can cut our lives short, can cut the quality, can hamper the quality of our lives. And yet, millions of us have not been able to quit eating badly.
Yeah.
So that led me on a 7-year plus journey of discovery. Why do people eat so badly when we know better?
Yeah.
And I began basically by studying myself. Like, how could I, of all people who've been telling people for years to eat better and to cut out sugar, how could I have so fallen apart and, just quit walking my clean carbs talk? So in my case, what I discovered that I was doing what I call now I'm in addition to being a journalist, I'm a writer. So I love catchy phrases. And I think
Mhm.
they make concepts easier to understand.
Sure.
So in my case, I realized that what I'd been doing was what I now call heartbreak binging. And that is one of the big 4 binge triggers. If you lose a loved one, if anybody, husband, wife, brother, sister, kids, whoever, that could be a trigger. And
Oh, yeah,
one of these big binge triggers, like you may have been doing well for a long time, but one of those big binge triggers can set you off the edge.
totally. Totally. I had shared with you at the time of this recording, my husband passed away 18 weeks ago, and I have been sugar-free for 5 years. But during those last few months, I bet I had, I don't know, a half a dozen side steps. I had more side steps in those few months than I had had, in the past 5 years. And I would love to hear more thoughts about what you're getting ready to share about because I just got right back up on the horse, which it sounds like you did too. But I think that's where we measure. It's not how we fall, it's how we get back up. And
Well,
those grooves that have are down and deeply embedded, they come back online when the trauma starts to lift. But I interrupted you. I didn't mean to, but
no, 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 no. I mean, I feel for you. That's just a few slips. That's like, that's amazing.
thank you.
I went for like months. Well, I would try,
Wow.
I would get through like maybe to early afternoon. Nope. And then another slip. So, I mean, I applaud you. That's like really, really
Thank you.
amazing. No, grief
Thank you.
can really, really
Oof.
hit us hard. And that's the time
Oof.
that you need to just really reach out and get as much support as possible.
Totally. Totally. I don't know how people do it on their own. And you started talking about when you had this doctor's appointment and he said, just give up sugar. Well, you did that on your own because it didn't sound like you had a bunch of support or knowledge about how to do it. You
Well,
just did that yourself.
yeah, at that time at that time I did not. And I've been seeking to, offer support to other people. So
Mhm.
let me finish though with the
Yeah.
big sugars if I may,
Yeah.
because
Please.
these are, I think they're huge. So, well, wait, let me back up for a sec. So I then was like, okay, if we let me figure out why we're all eating so badly. So I actually identified a total of 21 reasons that we eat badly. Now
Oh,
we're talking like 7 years of research, and I don't know, I had several other people helping me, and we're digging up any studies that we can find. In fact, all the references for my latest book, I Blew My Diet Now, are online because they came to something like 100 something pages. And so I just moved them all online. There were that many. So
wow.
okay, another big trigger is you mentioned trauma. And
Totally.
sometimes trauma and grief can be intertwined. So another big trigger is trauma, and that you could be doing what I call comfort crunching. Another, I mean, there are there's so many reasons we eat badly. It's just it's quite astounding. So I'll just show you if I may.
Sure.
Um, this is like my book, and
Mhm.
I go into like what the reasons are. So it's like part two of my book is to find out your whys, 21 reasons that you blew your diet. So the another big binge trigger is what I call it has to do with relationships. So it could lead to breakup binging. It could
Oh,
lead
sure.
to divorce devouring. Um, and then a fourth one actually has to do with caregiving. That if you're caring for a
Mhm.
loved one, it could lead to what I call caregiving chomping.
Mhm.
And so what I've discovered is that once you identify which one or ones, it could be more than one at the
Yeah.
same time, but once you identify your big why, like your big binge why, then that paves the way for you to to address what the underlying reasons, whether you go to therapy or go to coach, get hire a coach or counseling or whatever you do,
Mhm.
and see a doctor. You certainly
Mhm.
want to get, um, and then you can make the decision to eat better.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But I like to say that why is one of my favorite words in the English language.
Yeah, do tell.
Well, you know, it can in terms of eating and in terms of what you eat, why can either take you down the why can lift you out of that rabbit hole. So I heard your recent interview with Dr. Teitelbaum, who I
Mhm.
think he's totally, totally awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And I thought it was absolutely fascinating that he's on one end of the spectrum where he can have a little bit, and his wife is like a no, you
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, I'm her.
And I think that he raises a very good point. Is that your listeners need to figure out what kind of person they are.
Yeah,
Can they have a little bit and stop? Will they feel okay? Or do they have to go cold turkey?
yeah. It's funny you bring that up because I got a little nervous when he's like, just have a bite or two of chocolate or a glass of wine and that's fine. And at first I clenched up and I'm like, don't say that. But then I realized it actually opens up the conversation. Let's talk about that and where he is and where I am, where I don't drink alcohol. I don't have any sugar because I rate so high on the food addiction or sugar addiction spectrum. There's no such thing as a bite or two in my world. It's
Well,
either none or a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies.
well,
There's
and
no in
what's
between.
and what's and what's interesting about that is I'm like you. I don't have alcohol. I haven't in years. I've been teased about it by potential boyfriends who quickly became not potential because if you're going to give me a hard time about my not eat drinking, forget it.
Yeah, that was actually that was they did you a favor. If
Anyhow,
they don't want to be with you for that, they did you a favor.
but here's the thing. Um, I've experimented to figure out like what kind of person I am. Now, what it comes down to is I can have one or two bites of sugary foods.
Hmm.
But wait. But if I do, I'm going to experience what I call, this is a real scientific term now coming up, the 3-day crud.
Yes.
Okay. Literally, a few bites of sugar will make me feel awful. And so I had this conversation with myself. Seriously, it's okay. I can have them, but do I want to feel awful for
That's it.
do I want to feel
That's it.
awful for 3 days afterwards? And
Yeah.
my issues have nothing to do with weight. They have to do with, we talked about the 44 elements I used to have. If I have a few bites of sugar, I'm gonna get headaches. Forget about sleep that night. I'll conk out early. And the same thing applies though with ultra processed carbs. I experimented with that. But these days, so uh, these days I can have a little bit of ultra processed carbs, but I literally have to measure it out. Not measure it out. Okay, so like like the other day, I was really, really tired. I know myself well enough to know, okay, you're tired, Connie. Boom, you're craving carbs. So it's like when you know yourself,
Yeah.
and I knew exactly what was going on. I said, okay, I'm gonna let myself have, you know, 12 of these sweet potato chips. They're really good.
I'm sure.
And they're a lot more healthy than, regular chips or whatever. Um, but knowing what you can do and how you can stop and how what you eat makes you feel. I think there's so much discussion in our world today about, lose weight to look better. I totally disagree. I mean, it's not that, yes, you want to lose weight to look better, but that should be literally the one of the least one of the least important concerns. You
Yeah.
want to eat better so you feel better.
Well,
That should be your driving motivation, why you're changing your diet. If you eat better, not only will you feel better, you'll have more energy, you'll be happier, you find it easier to concentrate. And
yeah.
that is something I'm really determined to spread the word about is how what you eat just affects not just how you feel, but who you are in the world.
Totally. It affects every single thing in your day. And I could maybe at this point get away with having a few bites, but why would I want to mess with it? Why would I want to risk anything? And why would I want to wake up those addictive pathways? And why would I want to for the next 3 days? You called it feeling like crud, but I would get into starting to some obsessive thoughts about, well, maybe I could just still have another. I don't want I want guardrails around me. I don't want to mess with any of it. I don't want to upset the apple cart, pun intended. I just want to keep moving on with what I know is safe. And if people can have a bite or two and go on down the road and they don't think about it any, rock on. Rock on, man.
So the other thing is, for instance, okay, I knew I was going to have this interview with you. So before I have an interview, I need to make sure I have ample protein ahead of time, that I have foods that are going to nourish me. And if I sound maybe a little buzzy, it's not coffee. I do eat cacao, but not cacao with the sugar, just cacao the powder in a shake with protein powder and all this other stuff.
And that the chocolatey flavor doesn't uh, do anything for you. It doesn't.
It has no sugar in it.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't know if the chocolate flavor was triggering at all.
No, no.
I, I haven't
And
even messed with chocolate at all because I'm too
oh,
afraid.
yeah, I usually put cinnamon in it, in my chocolate shake or cacao shake. But for this morning, for some reason, I don't know, the cinnamon had vanished. And it was very interesting because I noticed it. Huh. So this shake is a lot less sweet than usual. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I think what I want to encourage your listeners to do is like, okay, did you see what I just did? I was like, huh. You kind of think about
Get curious.
what what food does to you. So if you decide, okay, I'm not going to follow Paige's and Connie's advice, and I'm going to eat some candies or cookies or whatever. So, okay, that is your choice. You can choose to do that. But what I would encourage you and invite you to do is to then, just jot some notes to yourself, or think about, okay, how do you feel half hour later, 3 hours later, the next day, the day after that?
Mhm.
And once you see that what you eat is so directly related to your energy levels and who you become, you'll want to change how you eat.
I agree. I agree. And I love that aspect of thinking of it as curiosity. You're sleuthing, basically. You're gathering data. It's not to shame, it's just to help us make the next right move, right?
Yeah.
The more we
I
know, the more power we have.
yeah, I
There we go. Looks
Oh,
like
okay.
you're back.
I think you froze for a second.
One of us did. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay, so I like to encourage people to develop what I call compassionate curiosity.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
And kind curiosity.
Hmm.
And outside of yourself. In other words, you're looking at this other person. It's you, but you're just stepping outside of yourself
Yes,
to see
disassociation.
how what you're eating is affecting you.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. You had talked about the different trigger reasons. Were there any more that you wanted to share before we moved on? And I think people are extremely curious about trigger reasons, right? They're like, yeah, what is it? Where's that come from? I always used to say I never knew when the monsters would come out of the closet, and it just seemed random until I got into recovery.
Okay, so there are 21. So
Oh, well, we won't go.
I'll tell you. No, no, no. I'll tell you some more of them. So I did cite the big four binge triggers. So
Okay.
another really big one that may not even have anything to do with your emotions is what I call blood sugar roller coaster scarfing. And so if you skipped breakfast, or you're on you're doing all your errands, or you're taking your kids to school or soccer practice or whatever, and oops, you forgot to nourish yourself, then you can all of a sudden find yourself just absolutely ravenous, and at that point you're more likely to make poor food decisions.
Totally.
You're gonna choose foods that just aren't healthy for you. So blood sugar roller coaster scarfing is one of the really, really big ones. I don't know, it's like it's like asking somebody like an author. It's like asking an author, well, which is your favorite book? Uh, or asking somebody who are your favorite kids, because they're 21 reasons. So those are a few of them. Let me think. What's another one that I could?
Well, Ken, I just want to interject too about my number one tip for staying clean is I know I can't get hungry or things are going to go south. So my number one tip for protecting myself is I food prep and I have everything ready the night before. I know what my day is going to look like and I have my food ready to go. And usually I do a bunch of food prep on the weekend. So during the week, it's so easy. My life is easy breezy. It's a well-oiled machine. I'm just pulling food out from my containers during the week. And that protects me more than anything. So pre-working your recovery in advance, I think does loads of favors for you instead of ever making those decisions on the day or in the moment. I don't know how you feel about having your food planned and prepped in advance or not,
Um,
but
I'm very big on food planning. I'm not one to like plan for the entire week, but I'll plan, for that day or the day before. However, even the best of us can get stuck.
yeah.
I had something the other day where I ran out of ink, and I had forgotten to buy it online. And so I'm like going to one store and they did not have ink. I mean, you got to have ink for your printer. And then I went to another store, and that store was closed. I was literally I'm going from Best Buy to Staples to Best Buy. Anyhow, more time passed than I had realized. And darn it, even the best of us will fall prey to poor planning,
Yeah.
because where was that wonderful, beef stick that I always have as my
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. And so I had to like drop everything, after finally got the cartridge. I had to drop everything, go to this grocery store, and I'm literally just like ravenously in the parking lot eating, turkey slices. I mean, it was pretty funny. I kind of was laughing at myself, like, oh my goodness, I literally got stuck. Yes, you want to plan in advance, but you might fall off the wagon. But it's important to point out that you need to at least know where to go to first. I knew what store I could go to get relief. But
Hmm.
like I've been on road trips, okay? And if you're on road trips, you absolutely must plan in advance, because you are not going to be able to find like a Whole Foods or a grocery store with healthy foods. So yeah,
Yeah.
planning in advance is a really big one. But can we back up a minute to
Sure.
before you even decide to make any before you even make any changes in your food? So I think that people in our society, and it's understandable, we are besieged by an endless procession of temptations.
Oh,
Wherever we go, I
yeah.
I call it's the junk foods jungle out there.
Oh, yes.
No
I
matter,
love that.
you you go to the gas station, you go to a
Yeah.
hospital, for
The
goodness.
pet store.
Yeah, you go to a drugstore. You go, I mean, well, like I mentioned, Staples or Best Buy, but I think they even
Yeah.
have junk food. Anyhow, the
Yeah.
point
They
the,
do at the, yeah.
The pharmacy. Okay. You need to be aware and you need to steel yourself before you leave home that you are going to be tempted. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to happen. So, what you want to do then is you need to figure out a way so that you can stand strong in the junk foods jungle.
Hmm.
Once you know that, your chances of having a binge are going to lessen dramatically.
Do you have tips around that?
Well, I think I do. I have so many tips. But one of the things that I want to point out is the mindset to which you approach this.
Okay.
You want to develop you want to develop a success mindset.
Yep.
You want to know that I'm I'm going to do it. I mean, no matter what. And yeah, we're talking some positive thinking, but I dug up lots of research to back up all the things that I suggest. So I'm suggesting that people develop a mindset where it's a 5 part process. So the first thing you want to do is you want to tune into, I call it the diva mindset. Now it's not DIVA as in an opera singer. It's DDEVA. So D is for desire. So what is it that you really, really, really want? Do you want to be able to have the energy to hang out with your kids and, you know, play tennis or pickleball or go
Hmm.
on a long bike ride with them? The second part, so D is desire. D is decide. Decide, you know what? That's it. I'm going to eat cleanly or, whatever decision you make that's good for you and your body, I'm going to eat better because I'll be better. So that's desire, decide. The next part is expect. You expect success, no matter what. It's like it's a done deal.
Yeah.
And that kind of expectation can set you up for success. The next part is visualize. So it's desire, decide, expect, visualize. You visualize that you're gonna succeed. I'm gonna go back in a minute to um, tell you about a study that I uncovered about the power of visualization and
Oh, yeah.
in weight loss, but I want to finish the rest of the diva. And the last part is affirmations. So where you say the affirmation, I am enjoying being a healthy, clean eater, or I am enjoying, making good decisions for my body. So you can make your own. But can I back up to the
Sure.
visualization study? So I just want to read just a little bit about this one study that I found. It's like, when I was working on my book, this most well, I should say all 3 books, but I was like endlessly astounded by some of the absolutely amazing studies. So, okay, so sorry. As I mentioned to you, a lot of stuff got misplaced. Okay, so first off, the thing about visualization is it has been proven, like students used visualization to improve their grades. Surgeons have used visualization before they perform operations. Stroke-based patients have practiced positive imaging. That's what this one researcher calls it, to regain movement in affected limbs. But okay, here's the study. So basically, I wanted to figure out whether or not can visualization help promote weight loss.
Oh.
Okay, and so this one researcher worked on it, and it was published in the International Journal of Obesity. And what it proved is that personalized goal directed mental imagery, they call it mental imagery or visualization, can help you peel off pounds. But especially when you anticipate potential obstacles and you mentally try out solutions. So for this study, the researchers recruited 141 overweight or obese people. And they trained them to do something called functional imagery training, and that incorporates visualization. Then the other part of the group did what's called motivational interviewing, and that was a tactic that it uses verbal coaching but no visual strategies. So now here's where this whole study is fascinating. So basically, they never told the people what to eat. That's
Oh,
so a year later, the visualizers who imagined that they'd scored who scored they excuse me, a year later, the visualizers, so they imagined that they were successful, they were going to shed weight. They had a weight loss of more than 14 pounds.
wow.
Okay. Those who did not do any envisioning lost, okay, get ready for this, less than 1.5 pounds.
Yeah.
So we're talking the visual, I mean, and let me just repeat that. It's just too astounding. The visualizers lost more than 14 pounds, and those who did not visualize shed less than 1.5 pounds.
Yeah, I think having your brain on your side through this is critical.
Let me just finish the last part. So anyhow, those who imagined the weight loss, they shed more than 3.5 inches. And then the other people who did not do the visualizing shed less than 1 inch. That was one of my favorite studies, but I should say that I had tons of favorite studies.
Right.
It was like, uh, anyhow. So to just recap, the way to flip on your success mindset, a simple way, and this is before you even make any food decisions, is to focus on your desire, decide, expect, visualize, and affirm.
Yeah. That's very helpful. All of those tools, we tell people build up your toolbox with as many different things you as you can to support yourself. And when you do that, you're going to find out something may work better, something may not be as powerful. You can find out what you can repeat more of. But that's what we were talking about before is that compassionate curiosity. If you look at it from a curiosity standpoint, that's really going to get you further down the head and it further down the road. And also, I think compassion swallows up shame, so they can't coexist at the same time.
Yeah,
So that's another thing.
there's actually some very interesting about the power of compassion, to help with shame. May I share one of my absolute favorite tactics?
Oh, please.
Whether your audience, whether they are listening or watching, I'm going to give explanations for both so that you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, but I have to go into a tad bit of a backstory. So this is a few months after my mom had passed away, and I had become like Pavlov's dog. I wanted, and also all my friends, they're all back east. So I still wanted to go to the movies. I needed to escape. Okay.
Hmm.
So what had developed was this awful pattern. I go in the movie theater, see popcorn,
Yeah.
crave popcorn,
Smell it.
binge on popcorn. Okay.
Mm.
It was automatic. And I was like really pissed off at myself. So what I did was I said, okay, Connie, come on, you're smart. You've written 2 books about sugar. You got to be able to figure out a way to, you got to be able to figure out how to stop this. So I sat in my car and I was like, okay, I'm not going to go into that movie theater until I figure out a way to bypass the popcorn. So I turned on a CD. It was a very soothing CD from some conference I'd attended. So very, very calming. And what I started to do was I listened to music and I started to wrap my arms around myself. So I'm listening to the music and then I'm kind of moving and I'm swaying. And then and then I started, touching myself. And then I like pat myself on the head. Oh, it's okay, Connie. I know this sounds really kind of kooky, but stay with me. It really works. Okay, so I'm So again, if you're watching or listening, wrap your arms around yourself, and then you can turn on some music and you can literally start swaying from side to side. And then you can move your arms, up your shoulders and maybe, touch your head. Or if you're out and about and there are people around, you put your arms around yourself under, like right over your waist, okay? And it may look like you're cold, nobody will know. And you literally can just like move from side to side. And again, if you can have music at the same time. So I went through one tune and I'm like, oh, I think I'll go through another tune. Went through the second tune, did the same thing. I was hugging, and then I was humming as well, humming, singing, whatever I did. And so I went into the movie theater, drum roll, because for the first time in months, I looked at the concession stand and I waltzed right by it. I probably stuck my tongue out at the concession, or at least imagined that I was doing so. And I did not have any ultra processed, crunchy, greasy, salty movie popcorn for the first time in months. And get this, I have not had any movie popcorn in over a decade.
Oh, wow. That's big.
Okay. But my background is as a journalist. I then came home and I was like, what did I just do? Like, wow,
Big wow.
how did that work? So that I dove into the research. And what I discovered was that each of these tactics in and of themselves, so hugging or humming or rocking or touching yourself, each of them produce different results. Combine them all together, and you got this like cornucopia of like pleasure. So you're reducing cortisol, you're releasing dopamine, you're boosting your oxytocin. And anyhow, I now call that the hug hum rock relief process. It
Oh, I
is
love it.
so fun and so easy. And
Yeah.
if you are anywhere that, I mean, ideally you would do it, say you're going to go to a neighbor's party. Ideally, you could do it before you leave. If you're going to go, let's say you're going to go with your family, you could literally turn on a tune, have the family have a 2 minute hug hum rock relief, break before you leave. Your kids don't even need to know what this is about. Let's just have some fun before we go. Uh, you can do it, even if you're, I mean, you can do it anywhere. And the reason I put my arms under my, I hid my arms under my, hid my,
Kind of
you know,
more around your waist.
right. It looks like maybe I'm cold. You
Yeah.
can do that literally. You can just look like you're fidgeting at a party. But you
Hmm.
are actually, you're doing some, you're just making life a lot easier.
Oh, can I tell you what I do now at night when I go to sleep that's similar? And I'm curious what to get your feedback. Is each night since my husband's passed, I pat myself on the shoulders and I say, "Good job, Paige. You did such a good job. You made it through another day." I'll give myself some pats and a squeeze. And it's so comforting before I try to drift off to sleep. There is something just very oxytocin producing of that just is it's a warm hug, even if it's to yourself. But that has calmed me tremendously when I'm trying to drift off to sleep at night. Do you think that's the same thing, similar to
That's
what you're?
that's totally awesome. That's totally
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
look forward to it every night.
but you can do it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Hey, good job,
Oh, I guess I could.
or,
But
I mean, I'm like in awe of you, okay? That
thank
you're
you.
doing your podcast. I mean, I'm just completely in awe of you.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
I dropped my podcast. I mean, I just I fell apart. So wow, you're like a real inspiration to people.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's not been easy. It's not been easy, but
Yeah.
I had mentioned this to you earlier. It seems like filling my day with purpose-driven things helps me feel better, and I also feel like I'm helping other people, which helps me feel better too. So, thank you for your
This,
kind
this
words.
is, this is totally, an amazing podcast. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's funny that you mentioned, that doing things for other people. Ultimately, what pulled me out of my funk and my deep dark despair was that I wanted to help other people
I
and,
love that.
and helping. I mean, I just don't want people to go through this awful pain.
Right, right,
and
right.
and and there is no, you don't need to suffer. You can, I mean, I know that, just the awful feeling of like being trapped in an addiction.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
Now,
the darkest place ever.
yeah, it's just awful. And being out of it is just the most, it I just want to encourage your listeners, when you're out of it and you're not like a slave to your sugar or carb addiction, it is the most freeing,
I
amazing
agree.
feeling. And it also frees you up to do things that you would have never done before.
Right, like write books, right? Because we wrote a book last year too, Real Food Recovery. If food isn't
Right.
the answer, what's the question? I couldn't have done that whenever I was deep in my addiction.
I've thought about that. I've thought about that. Yeah. Like my last book was probably more, required a lot more research than my last two books, which also required a lot of research. But yeah, there's no way I could have done it if I were still hooked on sugar and carbs. But by the same token, now that I'm not on book deadline, we're researching writing my book. I have like a new hobby. I'm into pickleball.
Good for you. Good for you.
And so you have when you're out of that, like, out of being trapped by that sugar or carb addiction, you have more interest in the world and in doing things and in being with people.
I agree completely. And don't you think it's a natural pull when you get out of it? You can't keep it to yourself. You want to help as many people. You're in the lifeboat and you're wanting to pull as many people as you can. I think it's a natural byproduct of getting clean and figuring it out. You're just bursting to help other people. You just can't help yourself but wanting to help other people.
Yeah, that's true. But I've also learned to moderate myself, because when I'm with, like, I'm out in the world with real people. I mean, I will notice if somebody has a soda or if somebody eats junk food. I mean, I'm a lot better at refraining myself.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you only want to talk to those people who are going to be open to listen.
Yes. And let me say, so my approach is I put out like an educational 30-second reel on social media every day. I help that way. We have our online support group. We have the podcast, have the book. Those types of things is how I feel. But yeah, I don't do unsolicited advice. If people ask me about it, otherwise it's keep it tick a lock on it because nobody wants to hear it unless they're ready. It's
Right.
going to fall on deaf ears and you're just going to create enemies and nobody's going to be want to be around you at Thanksgiving.
I,
So
I want to talk to you about one word, and I'm just not sure that I agree with you. And I think this could be an interesting discussion with you.
please, yes.
Okay, so I kind of have, I don't know if I would say I have issues, but I feel really on the fence about the word recovery. And I know that's a big part of what you do. So please take any comment I make with a grain of
Yes.
salt. This is
Yes, let's talk about it.
this is not intended to insult you.
No, I don't feel that way at all. Please. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts.
Um, I I don't think of myself as being in recovery. I just don't. So, in using your lingo, you would probably say I'm in recovery. And I don't even know what language I would choose. I guess I need to come up with a phrase. I don't feel that I'm in recovery. I feel that I'm, enjoying food as never before.
Mm.
Um, I'm appreciating the value of food. I'm appreciating high quality, nutrient dense foods as never before. My relationship with food is it's a we have a like really good relationship. I don't have this like toxic relationship with food that I once had.
Mhm.
I When I see junk foods, I don't get angry. I just get, you're not gonna feed me.
Mhm.
um, and I, I, I don't feel that I'm in recovery. I feel that my relationship with food is the way that it should be.
Oh yeah, I
I
love
don't,
that.
I, I don't feel that I'm always at risk of having a binge. Unless, no, I just don't even feel like I'm at risk of, so I don't really, I mean, it's an interesting phrase and I know that's used a lot. And I don't know what other phrase to use. I have to think about this, but I don't feel that I'm in recovery. And yet, if in from your standpoint, I probably am.
S- So for me, I do use the word recovery and I'm grateful for it. And I never want to be complete. I want to always be working on my journey. And it is something that I still have to work on every day, or I could fall back into some side steps. There are certain things that I need to do to practice the tools that keep me safe every day. I don't care what you label it. And let me explain a little bit deeper because some people don't like the word addiction. And I'm like, I don't care. Use whatever ultra processed food use disorder. I don't care what you want to call it. You can call it a sugar problem, but the tools to get clean are still the same. No matter what you call the elephant, the path to get clean is pretty much there's some few things you've got to do the same. Same way with recovery. I don't care what you call it. Do whatever fits you and lands well on you, but the way to get there is pretty much the same. So that's where I'm like, we can talk about it, but it's not going to change the process too much.
Yeah,
So,
you raise a good point. So, I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but
no,
yeah,
please.
would it be okay if we both share
Yeah.
what our absolute daily musts are? And
Yes.
I'll start with one for myself. Okay, every day I get out of bed, I go to the restroom, then I go back into bed, and then I turn on a CD from John Kabat-Zinn. He's a master in mindfulness meditation, and for 10 minutes I meditate with John Kabat-Zinn. And yeah, I'm an old school. I have a CD player. And some days I listen longer. So today I listen maybe 20 minutes. Every day, mindfulness meditation, no matter what. And there's actually some very, very interesting research that suggests that mindfulness meditation can help with food choices,
I
that has
agree.
helped people with food issues. So I'd love to hear what some of your other like absolute must habits are.
So it sounds like you and I start our day the same. I get up and go to the bathroom. And then I go back into bed and I say my prayers and I read my scriptures. And then I'm up to the kitchen to have my protein shake while I'm listening in on our morning group session over Zoom as I'm heading to the gym. So we have four cornerstone foundational principles that we teach everybody: single ingredient food, sleep, movement, and spirituality. We don't say you've got to go to church. That's not what spirituality, whatever that looks like for you. So those four cornerstones you build the house on. So by the time I woke up, I go to bed knowing that my day starts the night before. So I've had my sleep. I do my spirituality. I have my single ingredient protein shake ready to go, and I'm heading off for movement. So those anchor my days, and then everything else is built on top of that. So is that kind of answering your question of what?
Yeah. So what I so I yeah, so I start with the meditation. I
Yeah,
make sure to have ample water.
yeah.
That's the first thing, at least a couple glasses of water. Um, yes, move is a big part. Sunshine, getting out and having
Yes.
is another big one. But I will say this, and this is it's just before I do any movement, like I got to eat within an hour of waking up,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
my blood sugar is going to get all wonky.
Me too. I have hypoglycemia, so I need
Yeah.
to really eat about 90 minutes is premium before I exercise for to protect myself. I can squeak by with an hour, but if I have 90 minutes, it's even better. But yeah, it sounds like you and I have foundational principles that we've built our day on.
Yeah. Very, very, very similar. Yeah.
Mhm.
And well, and the other, I also, I do, there's another meditation that I listen to usually a little later. Um, it's a brain training program, and I literally have an accountability partner, and we like text each other. Did you listen? Did you listen? Um, but there are certain things that if you do them every day, so you can literally, make a list, and so affirmations is another one,
Yeah.
and you can even do your affirmations when you're grocery shopping.
Yeah.
You have like, I love your principles, and then I have other principles. Um, that you do those, your chances of success have soared.
Amazing. And while I'm at the gym, I'm usually listening to some uplifting podcast about something. So the rock music is nice in the background, but making sure I get those positive messages are very solidifying with the goals of how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
So any positive messaging you can get throughout the day, get it in, baby. I feel like I've taken up more than my share of time with you. This has flown by. You've been an amazing guest. Do you want to share anything before we head off? Do you want to talk about where people can find you, or if there's anything that you would like to share? Now's the time.
Okay. Um, okay. So I said this before. I probably can't say this enough. I think that a lot of people are not giving themselves enough credit. You are strong.
Thank you.
You can, by you, I'm talking to your audience, okay?
Hmm.
That you have the choice. You can choose better foods and have a better life. I'm not even going to give you the other option. You can make better choices. And when you make those better food choices and every part of your life, choices, your life will be so, so, so much better.
I
Um,
agree.
and God, we didn't even talk about other tactics that I have. So I have a lot. So yeah, I would
Do
love
you
to.
want to come back?
I would love to, but I also would love to invite your readers to check out my new book. I
Oh,
blew,
yeah.
I blew my diet. Now what? It's anywhere books are sold. I promised you, Paige, that I am going to. This is going to be interesting how this is going to work, but I'm gifting you one book for one of your listeners, and all they would need to do is to email me. I'm not going to give you my full email address, but just go to my website,
Yeah.
www.connieb as in boy.com. And then you just hit on the contact Connie. And the first person to email me, I'll email back directly. But the first person to email me, I will send them a book as my gift.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. That's so generous. I love that. Wonderful.
And
Well,
I love, love, love hearing from readers. I think, I've written 3 books now, and the the comments from this book have been completely different.
oh,
Very,
wow.
very interesting. People are loving. I begin
Oh,
I begin this book by really showing my vulnerability and how, I really hit rock bottom. And people are enjoying reading my tale of like Connie on carbs. But Connie on carbs to Connie, off carbs, or Connie
yeah.
honey better than carbs. So
Well, it's a topic everybody wants to know. I blew my diet. Now what do I do? We didn't even have a chance to talk about that so much. So we definitely will have to have you come back again sometime.
thank you so, so much for
You're
your
welcome.
for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
And I
And if you
love to hear from people. So please feel free to email me.
Wonderful. And if you want to find out more about us, you can find us at realfoodrecovery4u.com. That's the number four, the letter U. And our book, Real Food Recovery, If Food Isn't the Answer, What's the Question, is out on Amazon today. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye bye.